Hey Warriors fans, let's dive right into what went down in the last game because, wow, it was a roller coaster. The story of this matchup really came down to turnovers. Without Steph Curry, Jimmy Butler, and Draymond Green on the floor, Golden State struggled to keep control, and it showed immediately. The team committed 18 turnovers, which turned into 30 points for Sacramento. Meanwhile, the Warriors were only able to generate 11 points off their opponent's mistakes. That imbalance really tells the story of the game. Losing three of your primary ball handlers almost guarantees chaos, and that's exactly what we saw. The offense looked disjointed at times, passes were off, and the flow that Warriors fans are used to just wasn't there. Steph was out due to illness, which is never easy to navigate mid-season, especially given his role as the engine of the team. Draymond was also ruled out, though the reasoning was a bit vague. He might have been dealing with soreness, or it might have been a precautionary rest, but the impact was obvious. And then there's Jimmy Butler, sidelined with back soreness. When you combine all three absences, it's a perfect storm for errors and miscommunication. The team's young players were forced to step up in high-pressure situations without the veterans guiding the floor, and it exposed some weaknesses that need attention if Golden State hopes to contend. The result was a close loss to Sacramento, 5 points shy, but the broader story is what this means for the season. The Kings were also missing key players, yet Golden State couldn't capitalize. That's worrying because it shows the team is not fully equipped to handle adversity without its stars. Games like this are always telling. They show you what your roster can do when the veterans aren't in play. And right now, the Warriors are still figuring that out. Offensively, Al Horford did his job in other areas, contributing with defense and rebounding, but shooting remains a major concern. He's been struggling from long range, and in a modern NBA game, that limits spacing and offensive options. When the shots aren't falling from the bigs, the pressure mounts on the perimeter players to create offense, which increases the likelihood of mistakes under duress. This is compounded when ball handling is inconsistent and turnovers start piling up. Speaking of turnovers, Jonathan Kuminga had a mixed night. He showed flashes of his scoring ability, finishing with 24 points and 9 rebounds, but he also struggled in key moments. One critical play late in the game perfectly encapsulates his night. He had a clear opportunity to take a three-pointer that could have tied the game, but instead, he opted for a contested mid-range shot and missed. It was a microcosm of the Warriors' challenges, players with talent, but still learning to make the right decisions in pressure situations. Kuminga's defensive focus also wavered at times, contributing to the team's struggle to stay competitive without the stars. Other young players had similar struggles. Gary Payton, too, had some rough moments, particularly with turnovers in crucial stretches. While he can be effective in transition and as a cutter, in half-court situations his impact was limited. Trace Jackson-Davis and Pat Spencer also faced challenges, with defensive lapses and limited offensive production, further highlighting how critical experience is for Golden State's rotation. But here's where the silver lining comes in. Moses Moody and Will Richard really stood out. Moody has been consistently impressive when given minutes, and his performances over the back-to-back stretch were nothing short of remarkable. Against Sacramento, he dropped 28 points, following a 24-point performance against Phoenix. His three-point shooting has been sharp, hitting 11 of 19 attempts across the two games. Beyond scoring, he contributed with blocks and made smart reads on both ends of the floor. He's proven to be not only a scorer, but also a player who understands team dynamics, finding open teammates, and creating opportunities. Will Richard also emerged as a breakout performer. He scored 30 points, grabbed 7 rebounds, and had 5 offensive boards, all while committing just 1 turnover. His poise on the ball is impressive for a rookie, and his ability to make smart decisions in critical moments gives Golden State a reliable option when the stars are out. Richard's defensive awareness and energy add another layer to the team's rotation, showing that the Warriors can integrate young talent into meaningful roles without the game falling apart. These two young players represent a potential turning point for Golden State. When Moody and Richard are on the court, they inject energy, smart decision-making, and defensive pressure, which partially offsets the absence of veterans. They aren't just scoring. Both are making plays that influence the flow of the game, whether it's creating transition opportunities, generating turnovers, or finding open shots for teammates. This is exactly the type of performance Golden State needs to rely on as the season progresses. The takeaway here is clear. The Warriors' veteran core is still essential, but the emergence of younger players like Moody and Richard gives them flexibility. The team has a blueprint for what to do when their stars are out, and if these young players continue to develop at this pace, Golden State could weather injuries or rest days more effectively. However, the challenge will be consistency. Handling pressure, minimizing turnovers, and maintaining focus in crucial moments remain areas for improvement. The balance between aggressive scoring and disciplined decision-making will define whether the team can stay competitive in games without their veterans. The season is still young, but watching these performances gives a glimpse into the future. Moses Moody is looking like a reliable contributor on both ends, and while Richard's maturity on the floor is striking. Both can be trusted to play meaningful minutes, and as the rotation solidifies, their roles will likely expand. Golden State fans should be excited to see these young players taking command, showing that even when things get messy without Curry, Butler, and Green, there is talent ready to step up and keep the team in contention. Now, looking at the bigger picture, the Warriors' struggles with consistency really stand out. When you're missing Curry, Butler, and Draymond, every single decision on the floor is magnified, and mistakes tend to snowball. It's one thing to fall behind against a powerhouse team, but it's another to lose to a team that's also dealing with injuries and absences of their own. Sacramento was missing key pieces, yet Golden State couldn't capitalize. That speaks volumes about the gaps that still exist in the roster when the stars aren't available. The younger players are stepping up, but it's clear there are moments when inexperience takes over and the flow of the game gets disrupted. The turnovers we saw weren't just numbers on a stat sheet. They were momentum killers. Every time Golden State gave the ball away, the Kings were able to create fast break opportunities, and the Warriors' defense had to scramble to recover. In a game that was decided by 5 points, those turnovers weren't just costly, they were game-defining. Moses Moody's performance, however, was exactly what the team needed. His ability to stay calm under pressure and execute both offensively and defensively is remarkable for someone his age. He's becoming the kind of player who can reliably shoulder scoring responsibilities when the veterans are out, but also one who makes his teammates better. He's not just taking shots. He's finding open players, making quick reads, and converting defensive stops into fast break opportunities. That kind of dual impact is rare for a player still in his early 20s, and it gives Golden State a real foundation to build on when navigating the long season ahead. The fact that he's hitting shots from deep consistently adds a threat dimension that the team has been missing at times when Al Horford or Quentin Post struggle offensively. Well, Richard, meanwhile, has been nothing short of phenomenal in his first real stretch of meaningful minutes. 30 points in a single game, combined with smart ball handling and minimal turnovers, is the kind of breakout performance that changes a team's perception of what its rotation can be. He's not just scoring. He's reading defenses, making the right passes, and positioning himself to contribute on both ends. Watching him play, you can see the confidence and poise that come from being a winner at the collegiate level. It's the kind of presence that stabilizes a team when the regular stars are absent, and for Golden State, that's a huge plus. His ability to hit shots under pressure, grab rebounds, and make offensive plays without forcing anything is exactly what the team needs to complement its veterans when they return. The defensive end deserves attention too. Moses Moody's 4 blocks in the Sacramento game weren't just highlight reel plays. They were critical stops that prevented easy baskets and helped keep the Warriors close. His timing, anticipation, and effort on defense show that he can make a tangible difference in high-pressure situations. Well, Richard also contributed defensively, creating havoc with quick hands and smart rotations. For a team that has relied heavily on the defensive prowess of its older stars, seeing the young players step up in this area is encouraging. It indicates that Golden State has options for the future, even in moments where experience is lacking. Of course, the struggles are still real. Jonathan Kuminga's turnovers and fouls Gary Payton's lapses and inconsistencies from the front court highlight that the team isn't yet cohesive when pressed without its leaders. Al Horford and Quentin Post are talented, but their scoring droughts put additional pressure on the younger players, which can lead to forced shots and mistakes. The key for the Warriors moving forward is finding a balance, leveraging the energy and skill of young contributors while maintaining discipline and minimizing errors. Every possession matters, especially in tight games where the margin for error is razor thin. Looking at the season trajectory, Golden State has shown that it can survive stretches without its stars, but it's still a work in progress. The young players have proven they can step up, but they need consistency, and the veterans need to be available at critical moments to provide guidance and stability. When the rotation clicks, the Warriors can compete with anyone. Moses Moody and Will Richard give the team hope that even when the usual trio isn't available, there are players capable of keeping them in the fight. These performances are more than just flashes. They're indicators of a deeper talent pool that the team can rely on during the long grind of the season. What's fascinating is how this situation is shaping Golden State's identity. The team is no longer just about Curry, Draymond, and Butler. It's evolving into a squad where young players are learning to command the floor and make critical plays. The development of Moody and Richard shows that the team can integrate fresh energy without collapsing, even in challenging games. And that's crucial for a team aiming to maintain competitiveness over an 82-game season while managing minutes and avoiding injuries to its aging stars. It's also worth noting the impact of ball handling, or the lack of it, when the stars are out. Anthony Melton's absence is felt, particularly in controlling the tempo and reducing turnovers. When you combine Melton being out with the absence of Curry, Butler, and Draymond, the Warriors lose not just scorers, but also strategic facilitators who dictate pace and flow. That creates pressure on the younger players to make decisions they might not be fully ready for. Yet, seeing Moody and Richard perform under these conditions is encouraging because it suggests they can grow into those roles, providing more stability and versatility in the lineup. Defensively, the team has moments of brilliance but also exposure. When a rotation isn't fully intact, gaps appear, and opponents can exploit inexperience. However, the individual performances of Moody and Richard help mitigate some of that vulnerability. They're active, alert, and willing to make plays, which is exactly the kind of attitude that can cover for gaps elsewhere. If Golden State can continue to integrate young players while keeping veterans healthy and contributing, the team can be much more resilient, even when facing adversity. The takeaway from these games is a mixed bag. On one hand, there's concern when turnovers mount, veterans are absent, and games slip away. On the other hand, there's genuine excitement seeing young players seize opportunities, perform at high levels, and contribute in ways that go beyond scoring. Moody and Richard have shown they can step up in critical moments, and that bodes well for the future. The challenge for Golden State is sustaining this balance, managing minutes, and ensuring that young players continue to grow while the veterans remain the anchors. The potential is clear, the talent is emerging, and the stage is set for a season where adaptability and depth will define success. Before we continue, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any exclusive Dubs updates. Let's keep going. Whispers are already echoing through the NBA world after Chris Paul, the veteran point guard, reportedly dropped a bombshell that has sent fans and analysts into overdrive. According to CP3 himself, an Eastern Conference All-Star is seriously considering a move to the Golden State Warriors to play alongside none other than Stephen Curry. Yes, you read that right. The splashy combination of Curry and an elite Eastern star could be closer to reality than anyone imagined. While CP3 didn't reveal the name, insiders suggest this is not just idle speculation. The mere fact that a player of such caliber is even flirting with the idea of leaving the East for the West hints at Golden State's magnetic pull and their continued relevance as championship contenders. The Warriors, already boasting a backcourt that could rival any in the league, might be on the verge of adding another superstar to an already lethal offensive setup. Imagine the spacing, the shooting, the pick-and-roll wizardry with Curry and another all-star orchestrating plays side by side. Naturally, This has set the rumor mill ablaze. Fans are buzzing on social media. Analysts are scribbling furiously, and rival front offices are quietly recalculating. Could this be a tactical move by the Warriors management to signal their intent for the next season? Or is it a genuine opening for a star to join forces with one of the greatest shooters of all time? CP3's comments don't clarify much, but they are tantalizing enough to keep the conversation going. Some speculate that the Eastern star in question might be looking for a new challenge, perhaps chasing a championship ring, or simply intrigued by the prospect of playing in one of the league's most dynamic offenses. Curry, of course, remains the undeniable centerpiece, but the idea of a new co-star adds a fresh layer of excitement and pressure. If it happens, the NBA landscape could shift dramatically, with the Warriors emerging not just as contenders, but as an almost unstoppable juggernaut. For now, though, it's all whispers, hints, and speculation. CP3's confirmation that someone is interested is enough to keep the rumor alive, but fans will have to wait for official moves, or at least leaks more specific than an Eastern All-Star. One thing is certain. The NBA offseason just got a lot more intriguing, and the possibility of Curry sharing the court with yet another superstar is the kind of story that keeps fans glued to every report, tweet, and cryptic interview. Golden State may be quietly plotting something monumental, and the world is watching. Stay updated exclusively with the latest Dub Nation news. Subscribe to our channel and hit the like button to keep getting daily updates on the Warriors. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments. Your input is essential for the Dubs community. Stay tuned for the next video.